when the person you voted for does not win, you do not say the system must be broken or that it was rigged. You say it is what it is, and you show up anyway.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back, YouTube family. And today, this video that I'm going to do, I think it's one of my most favorites that I've ever done, and I'll tell you why. Because in the Bible it says you reap what you sow. And for anybody who knows me, especially those who are close to me, they know just how much I think that The View is one of the most hateful, toxic shows. And for some reason, it's still on air. I have no idea why, because there's no truth. There's no truth. It's toxic. And so it's very interesting that one of the hosts by the name of Sonny Hostin, who is probably one of the most toxic people that I've ever seen in my entire life, who continues to spew venom, vitriol at any turn. But one of the things that she really loves to do is to dump on Donald Trump. And one of her favorite things is calling him a convicted felon and also stating, well, nobody's above the law. Well, it's interesting that her husband has now been named and accused of insurance fraud in this bombshell lawsuit that has just come out. So before we do that, I just want us to take a look at all the times, and I'm sure there are many more, but these are the ones that I could find, of Sonny Hostin spewing this venom. Take a listen.
I don't know. I'm profoundly disturbed. I think if you look at the New York Times this morning, the headline was America Makes a Perilous Choice. I think that in 2016, we didn't know what we would get from a Trump administration, but we know now. And we know now that he will have almost unfettered power. And so I worry, not about myself, actually. I don't worry about my station in life. I worry about the working class. I worry about my mother, a retired teacher. I worry about our elderly and their Social Security and their Medicare. I worry about my children's future, especially my daughter, who now has less rights than I have. And I remember my father telling me many, many years ago that I was the first person in his family to enjoy full civil rights. And now I have less civil rights than I had when he told me that. So again, I'm profoundly disturbed that the 14th Amendment of the Constitution did not prevent someone who participated in an insurrection from becoming president of the United States. I think that going forward, the convicted felon box on employment applications better be taken off, because if you can be the president of the United States, then you should not be prevented from employment in this country, because I remember applying for my jobs as a federal prosecutor, and there was a box for convicted felons.
Well,
and so that box better be taken off. And I think our healthcare system is now at risk. It's something that I'm still struggling with, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on, is how did a convicted felon resonate more with Americans than a hyper-qualified woman of color? I mean, I just didn't like the optics of a convicted felon sitting in the White House near a fireplace. Now, as Whoopi said, that we have a convicted felon in the White House. Those questions should not be asked of anyone, anytime, anywhere.
Are you saying people who are felons can't vote? Well, why are you letting them run the country? Why is that
That's quotable.
What's their deal? So there are.
If he gets convicted, every single convicted felon in this country should be able to vote.
Well,
You think there should also be some soul searching on the Republican side, who need to analyze why they would nominate a convicted felon who ran on lies, threats of retribution, and concepts of a plan.
Okay, Sonny, so I hope for your sake that you carry the same energy that you were carrying before in these clips, just in case what happens with this lawsuit actually sees any kind of prosecution taking place against your husband. It actually happens. Just remember that, that checkbox that you said that needs to be removed for convicted felon and people who should not be able to get jobs when they can check that off. just bear that in mind. Just saying, just saying. You know, it's funny how scripture talks about pride coming before a fall, and you know, the Lord, he abases the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. And it truly is a testament to just how the Lord works. And to be quite honest with you, I hope that in times like these, when things like this happen, you know, people like Sonny Hostin will take a step back and reevaluate just their worldview, you know, and their mindset, because it really is a mindset. It's a state of delusion. And in this lawsuit that has been brought against her husband, it's interesting that she actually, it seemed as though she actually was the one who spilled the beans about it. So let's roll that clip. Take a listen.
Wait, hold on. Let Sonny get in here.
I mean, I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, you know, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, you know, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, you know, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance, and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do. So there are a lot of problems with it. But the notion that we are in a violent country, this country was built on violence. We're a very violent country. And it's just undeniable that that's the case. And so I'm not, unfortunately, surprised that people are celebrating the use of violence. I'm not surprised that this young man thought that change could be accomplished through violence. 1 in 4 Americans say violence against government sometimes is justified. And today, in 2024, 1 in 10 Americans say violence is justified right now against corporations
Scary.
and government.
That's very scary.
Those are just.
And even
that's
though I
just-
don't think he
those are
might
just
change
facts.
something, he might have laid out a plan for a copycat. That's what I see.
Yeah.
In the criminal case, now the prosecutors are like, oh, really? Well, how about we add some additional fraud charges onto you? And they're talking about threatening him with insurance fraud, which I would say you could get about 20 years in prison. So that's a death sentence for him.
Yes, friends. So she did intimate that, you know, her husband does surgeries and, you know, then would have to go and sue the insurance company. So yeah, interesting. But it says here in the article on the Daily Mail, and you guys can look this up for yourselves on the internet, it says that the longtime husband of The View co-host Sonny Hostin is starting the new year under a cloud after being accused of federal insurance fraud. Orthopedic surgeon Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin is among nearly 200 defendants named in one of the largest RICO cases ever filed in New York. Wow. So, you know, I just wanted to take the time to share my thoughts on it because, like I said, as I said before, you know, this show is one of the shows that it really is, it's just very bitter, it's very toxic. It doesn't provide any truth. It really is like a smear campaign. You know, you listen to them, you listen to the so-called facts that they bring, which are no facts at all. But in particular, Sonny Hostin, she takes great pleasure in speaking very negatively about Donald Trump and calling him a convicted felon. You know, even when things were laid out in terms of that case, that many people, even the law itself was saying, like, I mean, it's ridiculous. None of these things should be brought forward. But, you know, it was really just this attack, you know, this way to kind of just get rid of somebody who you don't like because you don't want them to run for office. And here it is, that the very thing that you have so much energy for, you know, so much bitterness and so much anger about, it's the very same thing that's now being faced by your husband. Interesting turn of events. So, you know, I just wanted to share my thoughts on that. Just wanted to give my views on that. So guys, let me know what you think. You can place your comments below. For those of you who are enjoying the content, continue to like, share, and subscribe. And also for those of you who want to support us further, you can go ahead and click the links below in the description box to purchase our merch. So we love you guys so much, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.